our city council meeting went until about 10:30, and
Wow.
so it was a rather late one. And but as always, it was chock full of information, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of that with you today. And then I'd like to take off my mayor hat after that and chat with you a little bit about Measure R, which is a ballot initiative that the city has on the ballot this year.
So, Mr. Mayor, before you get started too far into this, I'm happy to be here today, but I will not be able to stay for the whole thing. So if I missed that portion, I'd be happy to talk to you about it later.
It's 10 o'clock.
Sure. And Alan, you can find all of that information on the city webpage.
Okay, no problem.
If you just go in the search menu and type in Measure R, everything will pop up for you. I got that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So why don't we get started? We have, good morning, Susie. How are you?
Good morning.
So, well, I guess we should get started with just 6, or what do you think?
We could maybe give it a minute. We could maybe give it a minute if you'd like, otherwise we can get started.
Yeah, why don't we get started? So last night's city council meeting was a pretty heavy agenda, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of the things that we did. The first, under proclamations and presentations, we did a proclamation proclaiming that September the 15th through October 15th as Latino Heritage Month. And Council Member Cruz did the honors of reading the proclamation and taking charge of delivering it to the Cloverdale Family Apartments, where it will be posted on their community bulletin board. And then we did a proclamation proclaiming September as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And that proclamation, David, that was by Colleen Lutz over at the junior high school. Did she not accept that on behalf of the prevention program?
I believe that's correct, Mayor, because the proclamation did reference in particular students.
Students, okay. And then we had a presentation by Sonoma County Regional Parks on the Russian River accesses between the former Preston Bridge and the Mendocino County line. And what they're proposing with this new recreational area is 3 new entrances. And of course, we're excited about it because we're finally going to have that section of the river maintained by the Sonoma County Parks and Recs. So hopefully the trash will be collected a little more frequently. They will be installing restrooms, which is a big thing along the river there. And I think it's really going to be a big plus for northern Sonoma County, and especially for Cloverdale. And it's going to tie into, well, it'll be a short distance from the river park that we currently have.
Fabulous.
Yeah, I think it would be good, Alan. I'm only going to highlight a few things. One of the things I was excited about, item number 7, was a resolution to approve a contract with Anderson Excavation to remove the trailer at City Hall. In the back of City Hall, between the police department and City Hall, we have a modular unit that we've had there, I want to say, for maybe 20 years. And it has just deteriorated beyond repair. So as most of you know, we took our planning department and we moved them across the street behind in the back of Franco's old building. So they have their offices there now. The trailer will be taken down, and we're looking to have a Portland loo installed there, which is a restroom. It'll be right behind the stage on the plaza, behind where the telephone booth is. So you would access it from the plaza area. And that's been a long time coming. You know, we have folks that are enjoying Cloverdale from a tourist aspect, and they have to either go to the chamber to use the restroom, or they have to go into City Hall. So I think it's going to make it a lot nicer for them, and more usable for the community as well. So that was approved last evening.
Nice.
And then we also, and I'm going to ask our city manager to talk a little bit about this one. We also approved a purchase agreement with OpenGov. And OpenGov is a software package that will be implemented with the current programs that we have. And it will also be tied into our website. But the whole idea is it will streamline the planning, application permits, licensing, code enforcement, just a whole array of services. And I really have to apologize for my slurred speech. I haven't been drinking this morning, but I'm still having some dental work done, and my tongue is getting used to some new members to my some implants that I have. So I apologize for that. But David, did you want to maybe chat about some of the features? I know the planning department is really excited about it, because the process of submitting plans and plan checks can all be done online now. So that is exciting.
Absolutely, Mayor, and thank you for the introduction. And he's correct. The council last night did authorize city staff to move forward with an agreement with OpenGov. OpenGov is basically an IT software company that provides what's called software as a service, or SaaS. The software it will enable city staff to do is in a more transparent fashion, provide budget data to the community. Right now, it's very static. It's a budget document that you literally have to flip, page by page. And more and more, the community is demanding, real-time access and updates on budget information. And what this will enable the community to do is, once we populate the budget and put it all into this software program, enable the community to have direct access to real-time budget data. And including with that will be a lot of charts and graphs to help present the data. I think we've all looked at spreadsheets, and you can quickly gloss over once you see all the numbers, but when you present it in a table or a graph, it just makes it a lot more consumable, not only by folks like myself who look at data all day long, but really the community. And we've increasingly got demands and requests from the community for budget information, and this is our intent to be really transparent and provide data to the community as funds are expended throughout the fiscal year. Members of the community will be able to log right onto our website. Well, we wouldn't even necessarily have to log in, just access it via the web address, and there will be we'll call a citizen portal, so that data can be reviewed. But in addition to that, the OpenGov is also going to include a module that will enable folks to apply for all of our any and all of our permits and our licenses right online. Right now it's all done manually, So if you want a building permit, you have to bring your plans in, you have to, cut a check, and more folks want to be able to, apply for a permit, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this program will enable really anybody to apply for any of our permits or licenses, right online at any time of the day, and make their payments, and it'll be right into our financial system. So it's really going to provide, I think, enhanced service for our residents and our community and our business partners who need to apply for permits or a business license, or any other kind of permit for that matter. So it should make it a little more easier for folks to be able to really access that service rather than try to make appointments on limited hours, which sometimes is very challenging for folks. So staff is really excited by this. We've got a little bit of work to do to get the system up and running. But the Finance, Admin, and Police Subcommittee is going to have periodic reviews on our progress, and we really endeavor to get it up and operational and pushed out, as quickly as we can. We want to get it right, of course, but we see a lot of advantages with this. And there's a couple of cities that are nearby that are already using it. Probably closest to us is Healdsburg. They're using it to do financial reporting as well as transparency on the budget. Up north at Ukiah and Willits are also using OpenGov, and Yountville is also using it. One other aspect to it is being able to do what are called stories, and it'll help provide information about key projects, what the status is, current updates, and do it in a fashion that, again, is makes it fun and interesting to read and review. It's not just a bunch of text on a website. So again, we're excited by it, and we'll it'll be a work in progress. I'm sure you'll see over the next coming months we'll be able to unveil it to the community.
And the other thing too, we will be able to post information if we have blackouts or a disaster. It has that component to it as well. So folks can go to the website and actually get information that they can trust. Another thing that we did, we passed a resolution to submit a per capita grant and enter into an agreement with the State Department of California Parks and Recreation for disbursement of funds. And so the way this is scheduled to work, the dollar amount is pretty impressive. The grant would provide us with $178,000. It's a matching grant. We would be required to put in 20%, so we would be putting in another 44,000, and so the total is going to be about $222,000 to be used for specific projects. We're not sure exactly what, but we've identified 3, and the first one is to rebuild the playground at Ferber Park. That would include a full-size basketball court, a volleyball court, and a possible pickleball court. So that's one project that we may undertake. The next is to rebuild the basketball court at City Park. If you've been to City Park lately, it is just absolutely a trip hazard. It's been that way for years, but due to a lack of funding, it's always been like that. We'll be replacing the drinking fountain there. We'll be doing the basketball court, and I think that would also include a pickleball design as well. And then the next is to remodel the scout cabin, which is at City Park. That building was constructed by the Rotary, I believe it was back in about 1945, maybe. It's been a while. And long story short, it's on its last leg. It needs repair. So of the 3 projects, the city council will be deciding which one they'd like to do. So it's good to get some money from the state to improve our recreation. The other thing, for those of you that get Nexel, you probably already know about this, but Chief Ferguson advised us, I guess it was on Monday, that the Cloverdale Police Department and the Hillsburg Police Department was awarded a joint grant in the amount of $42,000 from California Alcohol Beverage and Control, the ABC. And those funds are going to be used for education, to conduct several classes for responsible beverage services for some of our establishments in town. And again, this was a grant, so we actually have some money coming in to do some things. David, did you have anything else for the recap of the council meeting that you think we should share? I mean, there was an awful lot of information, and I'm not sure, you know, I tried to share the most exciting, and that was the inflow of money. But David, can you think of anything else we might want to share?
One other item, Mayor, that share with the group was an item that was on consent, and that in regards to our water system. The council did approve purchase of what are called new registers. These registers are what's placed on your water meter. And the goal for the city, and this is really a 5-year project, is to put entirely new registers on all meters throughout the city. It's going to take some time, but we're really starting the process this year. These registers will ultimately, our goal is for them all to be what we call electronic read. But also, you know, and we have some electronic read registers now, but what we ultimately would like to do is be able to make that data available to you as an individual customer or water customer. So again, there would be a portal on our website where, you know, any water user could log in and get, you know, a current real-time report on water use. And we feel like that has a lot of valuable benefits. Of course, you can get alerts if you might have unusual water use, which can happen if you know there's a leak, and it kind of sometimes you don't see them physically, but if you kind of see your water use going up and you're not using water or taking long showers, it kind of gives you an indication that you might have a leak. But it also facilitates and enables conservation, because you know you can get a better look at what you're using. You know, it does require the customer interactivity to review it and take a look at it. But we view this as just a great advancement to be able to push this out. This is again going to be kind of a long-term project for us. It's an investment. Ultimately, the ratepayers pay for this, but it's intended again to reduce water reduce water losses in the system, improve efficiency, and give customers more data about their water usage. So that's another important project, Mayor. I just wanted to, you know, it kind of gets lost in the agenda because it's a we're just the council just authorized us to purchase them. But it's really part of a larger important project that has a lot of benefits for our community.
Thank you, David. That just about wraps up what I'd like to share with you about the council meeting last night. Any questions on that at this point? Well, you can find the transcript and the minutes on the website. I believe you can also go to the YouTube site that the city has and watch the video as well. I'm going to take my city council member hat off at this time, and I know David's going to take the city manager hat off, because we'd like to talk to you about Measure R, which is a ballot initiative. And the reason we have to take our hats off is because we really can't do anything on city time. You'll notice I'm in my garage today. I'm not sitting at City Hall because I knew we were going to talk about Measure R. And so using no facilities of the city, David is now taking an early lunch so that he could be here to talk with me about Measure R. So what exactly is Measure R? Well, I guess the way I probably should start with it is it's a user utility tax that's already in place. It's a 3% user utility tax. It was a tax that was eliminated in 2006. Cloverdale ended it because of the healthy economy we were in. And we just felt it was time to give a little bit back to actually stop collecting the tax. Long story short, along came 2008, and you know, hindsight is 2020. So, we passed in 2016, I believe, Measure O, which is a reenactment of the 3% user utility tax with a sunset for it to expire January the 1st, 2023. We just feel that that money that we collect through that user utility tax is in the amount of about $450,000. That would leave one pretty big hole in our budget for us to try and make up. So we're just pointing out, we can't ask for you to vote for it, we can't ask for you to support it, but we're just pointing out the uses of how we use that $450,000. And again, I'm going to call on David to just kind of highlight a few things. The thing that I like about this, the sunset, you know, it's going to expire in 2023. But all along, we've built in a committee of folks that oversee how we spend that money. So it's for specific purposes, or it goes into the general fund, and we use it for a pool of services that we provide to the community. And again, we have the oversight committee is comprised of Carol Giovannotti, Nina Hanchett, Mike Nixon. David, I can't recall who that fourth person is. Do you remember?
That's it, Mayor, the three that you mentioned.
So they take a look at our expenditures to make sure that we're spending that money properly. David, you want to just share a little bit what we use that money for?
Absolutely, Mayor. And if I can, just real quickly to touch on your first point about the discussion of this measure, what we can do, short of saying vote yes or vote no on this, is provide fair and impartial information about the measure using public resources. So our endeavor today is just to really provide, you know, that fair and impartial information about the measure. You know, in general, I just want to say that there's a lot of ballot measures this year on the ballot, and you know, there's you know, this is the presidential election, so you know, it tends to bring out a lot of voters, and there's, you know, a lot of interest. Obviously, the local ballot measure that will pertain to the city of Cloverdale is referred to as Ballot Measure R. the ballot measure, the R designation is ultimately assigned by the registrar of voters. So it'll be kind of down on the list because there might be some other measures, but Measure R does apply to City of Cloverdale. And oh, this is great. Thank you for putting this up. So really the official ballot question is, really you vote yes or no, is to maintain important city services, including repairing potholes and streets, installing city power backup systems for PG&E power shutdowns, preparing and responding to natural disasters and health emergencies, such as fires and the pandemic, maintaining rapid 911 or 911 response, supporting youth/teen programs and other city services. The question is, shall Cloverdale's measure extending the existing voter-approved utility user tax at the current 3% without increasing the rate until ended by voters, providing $445,000 annually, exempting low-income seniors, requiring citizen oversight with no money for Sacramento, be adopted. So that's the measure that you'll see, and I hope all of you will vote, of course, in general, and the choice will be to vote yes, vote no. What's really key for the city is that this measure, addresses some key priorities for the city. We believe that the funds are very important to helping us continue to do street projects and fixing our streets and potholes. We've been really investing in being more resilient and trying to address the power shutoffs and the emergencies, the fire emergencies that we've been experiencing. We very much want to maintain our rapid 911 response. Previously, when the previous measure, that is reestablished measure, the UUT, was called Measure O, the revenue was utilized to hire an additional police officer, as well as an additional dispatcher for our Cloverdale Police Department. And so that this funding really does serve to maintain that those positions within our police department, which are necessary to maintain our rapid 911 response. Of course, we this year we also are supporting the Cloverdale Senior Center financially, as well as the Cloverdale Chamber of Commerce, which these funds help to help the city support. So those are again critical priorities for the city that Measure R enables us to support. And so, Mayor, that's kind of an overview, but happy to address any questions that that the group may have. And as you mentioned, Mayor, there is an oversight committee to ensure that the funds are spent appropriately and in accordance with the ballot measure, and there are provisions for low-income seniors to be exempt from the utility user tax.
And it is not on your water or sewer bill. Those are excluded, so you won't see the tax on that. The other thing that we're trying to do a little more of is establishing a relationship with the Citrus Fair to help them in their capacity as they function as an emergency evacuation center. The thing I like about this tax, if there's anything to like about a tax, is all of the money stays in Cloverdale. Similar to our TOT tax, our transient and occupancy tax, that money stays. It's collected by the city. It's not collected by the state. It's not collected by the county. 100% of it stays within the city. Just to give you a quick example on your property taxes, and the last time I looked, out of every dollar in property tax that you pay, 17 cents comes to the city. The rest goes to the school district. It goes to the county. It goes to the state. So this tax will stay completely under the city's control. So, David, thank you for jumping in on that. And are there any questions at this point that we can answer for you? Well, I'm going to direct you to the website, the city website, where you can type in Measure R, and all the information will pop up. And again, to the YouTube station to see the video of last night's council meeting. So, Susie, if there's no hands raised for questions, I hope everybody has a good day.
Well, I think there's a couple of comments. I know
Okay.
Melanie had a little bit of information she thought she'd like to share.
Thank you. Melanie?
I'm just so happy that we are able to do this, David and Gus. I think it's so important for our community to hear what's going on. I'm very excited about the grant money that's coming in for both the police department and our parks and rec. I think that's just going to improve things for everyone in our community. I wanted to mention that we do have another food distribution starting up at the Citrus Fair on Mondays from 4 to 5:30. The Resilient Cloverdale Committee and the Sonoma County COAD Food Committee felt strongly that the farm workers in our community were in dire need of food. And so that will be starting on Mondays and at this point for as long as is needed, 4 to 5:30. The senior center is getting some volunteers to help with that. And also I received some really exciting news yesterday. We got funding through Sonoma County Emergency Services and for more of our fresh meals that are facilitated through Sonoma Family Meals, and we'll start that tomorrow. And we thought only for 8 more weeks. And then my contact person through Sonoma Family Meals had called me up yesterday and said that we got more funding. They got more funding, and we are going to get to do meals through the end of December. So, you know, we're very excited about that. And I'd also like to invite Donna, who's our Cloverdale librarian, who is going to be doing an informational Zoom meeting in coordination with the Senior Center to talk a little bit about what's going on with the library and maybe a little bit about what she's going to present at that Zoom meeting, which will come up before too long. Donna, are you there? Oh, she hasn't left. There you are.
No, here. I'm just, you know, hanging in there. So the library has several online virtual programs, including our adult, I heard a ding ding. Okay, including an adult book club. And right now we're reading Her Body and Other Parties. It's definitely adult oriented. If you've never read that book, it's definitely for adult audience. Just want to make sure that you're not inviting your teens or your younger children to this. It is definitely an adult book club. In this particular case, as more so. So please do join us. You can email me or call the library and we'll get you registered and I'll get you the link to the Zoom. It is the second Tuesday of each month at 2 o'clock. So 222. Tuesday, the second day of the month, the second day of the week rather, the second week of the month and at 2 o'clock. That's easy to remember. So there's that. We offer curbside from 10 to 3. There's online databases, and I would love to talk. I'm going to set up a meeting with Melanie, as she mentioned before, to talk to any seniors that are interested in learning about our resources and even getting an e-card. If you don't have a library card, now's the time to have one. If you're stuck at home, we have online resources. You're welcome to pick up physical items at the library. So anyway, I could go on forever. I have an hour-long presentation I could give you, but I will cut it down to my little 3-minute talk here. and hopefully meet with you at a 20-minute to a half an hour run through of resources that you are interested in. I do cater it to the seniors in this case. That's what I'm working towards. I have done presentations at the high school. We're getting the high school kids. Literacy is the utmost #1 thing, and I want to continue that goal lifelong.
Melanie, if I could just share a couple more things. I just wanted to talk about the safe routes to school on the south side of town, down by the CDF, all the way down to, all the way up, I should say, to the fire station there. The sidewalks have been installed. The bike lane has been installed. A little further up the boulevard, the bump outs on Hillsburg Avenue and Cloverdale Boulevard. When I went by there yesterday, it looked like all the cement had been poured and they're ready to be reopened again. And hopefully that'll slow the traffic down. But that south side of town, you know, there was really a lot of concerns about the kids coming up to school from that area, not having a safe place to ride their bikes or even walk. We'd really like the county, and David knows that we've had many conversations with Supervisor Gore on the opposite side of the street where Briarwood is. At the end of Briarwood, all the way down to MGM Break is county. So that east side of Cloverdale Boulevard, we've asked Supervisor Gore to see about getting some type of sidewalks in there for the kids, and we're keeping on them about it. So hopefully you might see that coming in another 10 years or so. So I can't think of any other projects that we've completed or are near completion. Susie, did you have a question?
I just wanted to let you know that Darlene Peck asked a question, and I'm wondering if either you or David would be willing to address how much money went to improving backup power when the PG&E turns off power.
I'd be happy to address that question, Mayor, if you like.
Please.
Yeah, that's a great question. And of course, you know, that's part of what we're identifying Measure R funds would be utilized for in the future. But directly to the question, we just spent just under $25,000 to connect the backup generator for the police department to City Hall. And we during previous power outages, we didn't have power at City Hall. And obviously that had tremendous impacts on our abilities to do, you know, a lot of critical work when the power went out. So that improvement will enable us to keep, you know, City Hall open or at least powered up when we have a power outage again by the backup power system. So it was a small project, but it's a start, and we're committed to, you know, continuing to improve our backup power systems. We had applied for a grant for the senior center through Cal OES to get a backup power system there. Unfortunately, it was very competitive and we weren't successful, but we're going to keep trying because we want to be able to ensure Melanie has all the lights and power that she needs when the power goes out. So we're working on it.
Well, plus it's an ideal location for a cooling center as well. You know, no power, 100 degrees. It would be nice for our seniors to have someplace to go. So, David, anything else you can think of that's happening? The Times Square, you know, we have the Bumgarner Ranch is on the drawing board. We have the Alexander Valley Medical Center, you know, that project is still moving along. A lot of positive things happening. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Mayor, if I can, just, you know, two other projects that are in progress include the what we call the Vista View slide repair project. That was there was a very significant slide that occurred back in 2016, we had some big storms. Portions of Vista View Drive, kind of on the upper part of the hill, slid out. It took out the water line and portions of the road, and it's affected the residents that have, that live up at the top of Vista View Drive. And we're currently working on a very substantial geologic repair to, stabilize Vista View Drive and, fix the water system, the water lines up there. So that's in progress right now. You don't see it because it's, it's up the hill. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, but it's almost a $500,000 project that's in process, and it'll really benefit the residents that live up the top of that hill. The other project that we have executed a contract for and will begin probably later this year is a new signal, or I say signal, a street light at the intersection of Treadway Drive and South Cloverdale Boulevard, right there at between Chevron and Ferber Plaza. There will actually be two sets of signals because there's an offset center intersection there, the way it was designed, with Santana being slightly offset from Treadway. So all of the traffic safety engineers have said you got to kind of do this double signal project. So we're working on, our public works department's working on that project right now. We've executed a contract with the contractor, and you'll start to see some staging and some work occur in that area. Included with the project, in addition to the signals, is going to be a new bike lanes, and there'll be you've probably seen them in other parts of the county. It'll be a green striped bike lane through that area, and I think it's intended to be quite an improvement for pedestrians in that area. As you know, there's a lot of different what we call vehicle movements from the different intersections, whether it's leaving kind of Starbucks and that commercial area, or Ferber and Treadway. So we see this as a really tremendous improvement for traffic flows in that area, and it's been a project that's been worked on for a number of years. So we're excited to see this project, and it's going to tie into safe routes to the school, the new sidewalk, and the new trail, and then the improvements that we're doing at Healdsburg Avenue. So quite an investment in dollars. Almost $2 million in street improvements along that section and corridor there. So pretty big investment for the city.
Very big investment for the city.
Yeah.
But and some of that is funded with impact fees as well. For example, we had the I guess the most recent one is the grocery outlet opened their facility. Well, we assessed them with a fee to help pay for that light. The same with Ferber Shopping Center. When that was built, they paid into the signalization fund because we knew we were going to have to put a light up there. So, but it's still very expensive. It was, I don't even think they paid 25% of that $2 million, but at least it's something. So,
and Vine Ridge, the senior living project, was a big contributor of impact fees to Mayor for that project. So we've been chunking those funds away in an account, and now we're going to put them to good use.
Yeah, and the goal for that whole southwest side is to eventually have all of that electrical wiring undergrounded. It not only is it dangerous, but it surely isn't very attractive. So, any other questions or any comments or thoughts that you might have on what the city could do better or what we're not doing? Donna?
you were talking about the stoplight and whatnot, and I was thinking about Cloverdale Boulevard and how people pretty much race by there. And I know that we've had some accidents there and an unfortunate death at that crosswalk that's now there. But it's still, I think, an issue. And I'm just bringing that forth because I drive it. And even though I don't live in Cloverdale, I still drive down that road. And kids do dart right out there and go across, whether or not they're waiting for that light to blink. So I just want to bring that forth. I don't know if we can make that any more safer or what we can do.
Yeah. Well, you know, that bump out on Hillsburg Avenue and Cloverdale Boulevard is going to supposedly help slow traffic down. It's a speed reduction feature, if that's the section you're talking about.
I think
And
so.
I believe, David, are we getting lights on that as well? I know we had the in-ground lights that turned out to be a total disaster, that were sunk into the pavement. But I think there's going to be new lights there as well.
Right. We did evaluate whether a signal would be supported at that intersection, and it was determined by our traffic safety consultants that it wasn't what they call warranted. But the improvements, and you're right, Donna, that, you know, there's always concern about pedestrian safety, you know, in all parts of the city. And, you know, what we try to do with these improvements is make it as safe as possible. But ultimately, it boils down to the behavior of both motorists and pedestrians. And so, you know, some of that relies on good education and trying to encourage, you know, especially school-aged children to, you know, look both ways and pay attention. You know, we're so distracted these days with all of our electronic devices and things like that. It you know, becomes a challenge. But with respect to that intersection, so what we're trying to do is with these bulb outs is, if you think about it from a motorist perspective, is you're making that area more narrow, and the message that it should send to you if you're driving is to slow down, and you know, hopefully it will send that message. It also shortens the length for a pedestrian to travel between the sidewalks, and that means there's less time for a pedestrian to be in a vehicle path. And so, you know, those are that's the philosophy, if you will, behind trying to bulb it out, is addressing hopefully the motorist slow down, but also shortening the path by which a pedestrian has to cross in front of a vehicle path. To the mayor's comment is, we had these in-ground lights, and unfortunately they were very difficult to maintain. They just seemed to fail a lot, and we're not sure why, but they did. So kind of the new technology is to have what's called a flashing beacon. And really what it is a sign with bright LED lights. And so when a pedestrian pushes the activated light, it will flash bright. And again, the intent is to draw attention to the motorist that someone's in that crosswalk. And, you know, again, it's incumbent upon the motorist to see it. We're gonna, you know, the system is really designed to be very bright and capture that attention. And so hopefully that, you know, will be effective. You know, it's kind of the latest technology. We looked at different options, and, you know, this was one that seems to have gained favor with, you know, traffic safety consultants as a way to, again, try to catch the attention of drivers that, you know, that there's going to be a pedestrian that's, you know, entering that crosswalk. So, you know, not only you'll see the bulb out, but you'll see some, again, we'll call it a flashing beacon. So it'll be, you know, much more brighter, much more evident, and should provide that safety message to motorists. But, you know, again, doesn't necessarily address all cases of folks speeding or not stopping. That's just unfortunate reality of, you know, the world we live in.
Well, that whole traffic flow in that area is going to change. It's changed already to some extent with the addition of the Cloverdale family apartments. But once the Alexander Valley Medical Center gets put in there and the south end of that lot gets developed and Washington Street comes all the way through, it's going to really change the dynamics of how traffic flows through there. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the studies that we did, even with those improvements and those new facilities coming in, a signal light was not warranted. So that's a good thing from a financial standpoint. So.
Right, Mayor, you're absolutely correct. And we actually thought it would be warranted, but you know, it's kind of interesting. The boulevard, you know, historically was 101, and you know, it was designed for a lot more traffic than we experience. And so, you know, in a way, the capacity is much greater than what we actually see in terms of, you know, traffic volumes, because it used to serve as you know, the highway, and that's good and bad. I mean, just we have a lot more area now to play with future improvements that, as funding permits, we can, you know, do more things for pedestrians. But it's a slow go, and you know, I think the council continues. You know, we'll just continue to make progress on these little projects along the boulevard as time and funding permits.
And I could remember back to when it was a rumbling 4-lane highway. And when you look at the downtown now, if you stand on 3rd Street and look down towards Citrus Fair, I mean, it's just unbelievable the transformation that whole 3-4 block area has taken. So, yeah. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
I just want to say, David and Mayor, that I'm loving these coffee with the mayor and friends, because even though I feel like I'm pretty involved in what's going on in the community, every single time we've met, I'm like, wow, there's so much more going on than I had any idea about. So I want to thank you both for the job that you do. I'm really proud to live in Cloverdale, and it is the greatest small little town.
It is, and you know, I'm not going to take any credit for the hard work that our city staff does. You know, David works, you know, I get emails from him, you know, sometimes 11, 12 o'clock at night. I got an email from him a couple minutes before this meeting about a topic that we already discussed in this meeting, but him and Kevin and Susie and, you know, everyone, and a big shout out to Nina Hanchett at the Chamber, and you, Melanie, for all the work you do above and beyond your job description there at the Senior Center. So all the city council does is give a nod and sign a couple pieces of paper, but the heavy lifting is done by our staff, trust me. So, okay.
I'm just going to share the schedule of these coffee with the mayor and friends
Okay.
at the end here, and then everybody's ready to log off when they're ready.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for running the technical aspects of this meeting. It's nice. You do a good job.
Oh, thank you.
David, did you want to conclude with something, or no?
I just was saying thank you, Mayor, and thank you for everybody who joined this morning. Thank you, Susie, for setting these up. And I probably won't be on every one of these calls, but I know the mayor will invite other folks to provide, you know, information on other topics, which will be hopefully you'll find valuable, and we can get more folks here to participate.
Okay. And we're only having one meeting in October?
I believe that was the final decision, but I will check and make sure.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm missing one. There's also one on October 29th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
I am missing one.
And then one in November, one in December. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And we'll
Well,
post this on the
thank you, David, thank you for coming and joining me. I appreciate it. And,
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor.
okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.